The PE department are delighted to announce that PE will be offered as a Leaving Cert subject for fifth year students, starting the Leaving Cert programme in September 2021.
During this presentation, we hope to give you an insight into what Leaving Certificate physical education will look like, what content will be covered, and how this will be assessed. A nice way to look at Leaving Certificate physical education is to compare it to sports science. The subject involves development of performance in certain selected physical activities, while at the same time looking at the theory behind performance and participation in physical activity. Students will study concepts and ideas such as skill acquisition, principles of training, and biomechanics and how the body works. This overlaps quite nicely with physics and maths. We will discuss the content of physical education in more detail later on in the presentation. The time allocated to Leaving Certificate physical education on the timetable will be the same as the time allocated for your other option subjects. In a typical week, it is expected that students would spend one double lesson actively participating in one of their 3 chosen physical activities. The remaining 3 lessons will be dedicated to theory. Leaving Certificate physical education is divided into 2 strands. In strand 1, students learn about different theoretical perspectives that impact on optimum performance and how to apply this understanding to a range of different activities. In strand 2, students learn about contemporary issues in physical activity and how different people experience physical activity and sport. Strand 1 is broken down into the following components. Number 1, learning and improving skill and technique. Number 2, physical and psychological demands of performance. Number 3, structures, strategies, roles and conventions. And number 4, planning for optimum performance. In strand 2, which deals with contemporary issues in physical activity, the following topics are covered. Number 5, promoting physical activity, and number 6, ethics and fair play. As well as numbers 5 and 6, 2 of the following topics are prescribed each year, from 7 to 10. 7 is physical activity and inclusion, 8 deals with technology, media and sport, number 9, gender and physical activity, and number 10, business and enterprise in physical activity and sport. Students' physically active participation is central to teaching and learning in Leaving Certificate physical education. To enable this to happen, students will learn about the different theoretical perspectives through their participation in 3 different physical activities. These activities are selected from 6 distinct physical activity areas, which include athletics, artistic and aesthetic activities, adventure activities, games, aquatics, and personal exercise and fitness. There are 3 different assessment components to Leaving Certificate physical education: a physical activity project, a performance assessment, and a written examination. The table goes through each of the assessment components and the weighting that is allocated to them. Physical activity project is worth 20% and it's assessed at both higher and ordinary levels. The performance assessment is worth 30% of the final grade and is assessed at common level. The written examination is worth 50% of the total marks and is also assessed at higher and ordinary level. As mentioned, the physical activity project is worth 20% of the final marks. It can be taken at higher and ordinary levels. Usually students spend 8 to 10 weeks completing their project and it is submitted in December of 6th year. It is important to note that the activity chosen for this project must be a different activity to the one selected for the performance assessment. The learner will choose the activity. It can be outside the activities on the current specification. Students may choose to complete the physical activity project in one of the following roles: coach, choreographer, or performer. The physical activity project is completed in a digital format. Students are assessed on 4 separate areas: performance analysis, identification of 4 performance goals, evidence of ongoing training or practice and reflection, and a concluding analysis. The performance assessment is worth 30% of the students' final marks. This is assessed at common level. Students will choose one of the 3 selected areas of physical activities being studied by their class. Students are required to demonstrate a range of skills, techniques, and/or compositional elements outlined in the specification. Students' performance is captured digitally by the learner and in sessions that are designed to show the learner's best personal performance in a variety of contexts. These clips will be captured digitally and collected over time during January to March in 6th year. The written exam is worth 50% of students' overall marks. It can be taken at higher or ordinary level. The exam is allocated 2 hours and 30 minutes. It includes short questions and case study questions, and these questions cover all of 126 learning outcomes in the physical education specification. The first sample paper for Leaving Certificate Physical Education was released in January 2020. Both the sample paper and the 2020 examination paper can be viewed online. Studying Leaving Certificate Physical Education will be of great benefit to students who plan to pursue a career in sports and fitness occupations, such as physical education teaching, physiotherapy, physical training, or sports coaching. Sports does not need to be a career goal to justify taking this subject. The course content will benefit anyone for whom participation in sports or dance makes up a significant part of their day-to-day lives. It will also benefit students who are interested in learning about the factors that influence their own and others' participation in physical activity.
As this is our first year to offer Leaving Certificate Physical Education in Lusk Community College, we could not get any feedback from our own students. However, we were able to speak to some 6-year students currently studying Leaving Certificate Physical Education in one of the pilot schools. We have highlighted their responses on the following slide, and we hope this will be of benefit to you to gain further insight into Leaving Certificate Physical Education from students' perspectives. The following tables outline the national breakdown of grades achieved by students in 2020. It is important to note that predicted grading was applied in 2020. The first table outlines the grades achieved by students studying physical education at higher level, and the second table details the results achieved by students taking physical education at ordinary level. We hope this presentation has given you a good insight into what Leaving Certificate Physical Education will look like. Should you require any further information, please feel free to email our subject coordinator, Mr. Breen, or any of the other members of the PE department, Miss O'Neill, Miss Convery, or Mr. Brennan. We would like to thank you for listening to our presentation, and we wish you the best of luck with your subject selection for next September.